Hello and welcome to episode 34 of IOnTheTigers, a podcast all about the National Ice Hockey League, but one that always has an eye on the Telford Tigers. We'll kick off this week with some new signing news. It's a new signing in Bristol. So the Bristol Pitbulls have announced the signing of their third non-British trained player, Daniel Hardy. He was announced during the week and went straight into the lineup for the weekend's games. The same press release, though, did also have an announcement concerning Edgar Landsbergs, who was leaving the Pitbulls for the rest of this season due to commitments outside of the game. That's been news this week across the league, certainly the comings and goings, if you like. So what we'll do is we'll jump straight into, the news in relation to the National League Cup, because we had two semi-finals over the past week. The Hull Seahawks and the Leeds Knights played out their semi-final over the Wednesday and Friday evening. Wednesday evening, Seahawks were at home and they edged a close one, 4-3. Would a one-goal advantage be enough, though, going back to Leeds? Short answer is yes, and some. Friday night, it finished Knights 1, Seahawks 5. So Seahawks won both games, and that gave them a 9-4 aggregate victory. So Hull Seahawks have been confirmed as having a place in the National Ice Hockey League Cup final. Who will they play? Well, we're going to find out over the next few days. Before jumping into the results in terms of the league, just to pick up with Tigers 2. So Tigers 2 were in action away at Billingham, and they ran out 5-1 winners up at Billingham. So another win for Tigers 2 as they continue with fairly impressive looking season. And we've also had confirmation as well that the cup final for them is going to be against Sting. And that is on the weekend of the 24th of February at home and 25th of February playing the Sting away. In terms of the National League results, let's kick off with the Tigers, as the Tigers made the trip down to Bristol to take on the Pitbulls. And they went back to Shropshire with 2 points. Fairly close game throughout. Finished 4-2 to the Tigers. An empty net goal from Vladimir Luka to seal his hat-trick with about 10 seconds or so remaining, secured the points. But yeah, pretty close game throughout. And good result there for the Tigers. Much needed. Builds upon previous weekend of getting 4 points and this one, all due respect, but with Bristol being bottom of the league, it really does fall into a must-win kind of category. Also, on Saturday night, Wildcats hosted the Phantoms. Wildcats bounced back from their loss at Hull to win this one. They won 4-2 against Peterborough. The Bees were in action against the Steel Dogs. And Bees ran out 5-3 winners. Lightning hosted the Sharks, and that was a pretty big 8-2 win for Lightning. Highlight of which was Rory Herman scoring a Michigan goal. Second of the season. Not much that you can say other than, if he wants to rejoin Telford again, maybe, who knows? And then last but certainly not least, the Knights hosted the Raiders, and the Knights ran out as 4-1 winners at home. On to Sunday. Tigers hosted the Sharks. Boy, was this close. Finished 3-3 at the end of regulation. All three Sharks goals coming from a combined distance of, maybe about 10 foot out. Scored 3 goals really close in. Tigers took the lead. Sharks came back. Tigers took the lead. Sharks came back. Sharks took the lead. And then Jack Watkins scored absolutely exceptional goal to tie it up at 3-3. Overtime couldn't separate them. It went to penalties. The first 2 penalties were both scored. If I can count, the next 14 penalties were all saved or missed. Telford scored. Sharks didn't. Win for the Tigers. It's a 4-point weekend, so Really, really important. As I said last week, I thought if we got 4 points this weekend, whilst mathematically nothing is certain, that'd be playoff place secured. I'm sticking by that. And in fact, where we are now is we're 3 points off fifth, which, could finish fifth. That would be, I think, absolutely exceptional this season. So great job there. Really important. It gives us a 10-point gap over the Raiders, who are in ninth. So that's 5 games, so 2.5 weekends, and considering the season ends at the end of March, if that's not good enough for playoffs, then it's going to be quite a dramatic loss of form for the Tigers, and also an incredible turnaround from Raiders, definitely, and perhaps even Steel Dogs and the Pitbulls. Anyway, moving on from the Tigers, the Phantoms hosted the Lightning. Close game this one, but the Lightning ran out 5-4 winners in the end. So that's a really big win for the Lightning away from home. So I'm sure they'll be very, very happy with that. Wildcats hosted the Raiders. Normal time wasn't enough to separate them. It took overtime, and the Wildcats ended up leaving with 2 points, winning 6-5. Steel Dogs Bees was another close game that required overtime to separate them, but the Bees were able to pull out a 4-3 victory up in Sheffield. And then finally, the Seahawks hosted the Pitbulls, and the Seahawks won 6-2. Just returning back to the Tigers game as well, a couple of milestones to pull out. So it was the 200th start for Brad Day and the 300th game for Jack Watkins. And the weekend also saw Vladimir Luka go past the 60-point mark for the season, whilst both Scott McKenzie and Finley Howes went past the 50-point mark for the season. So congratulations to all there. Coming up this week, the action begins Thursday night with the Cup semi-final. It's the second leg between Milton Keynes Lightning and the Swindon Wildcats. The Wildcats going with a 1-goal advantage. I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Lightning will win, and they will secure their place in the final to take on the Hull Seahawks. Saturday night, Tigers host the Phantoms. Phantoms to win, unfortunately. They just seem to have a number. We just really seem to struggle against Phantoms, and sadly, I think they're going to do it again. Please prove me wrong, but yeah, that's how I see that one going. Bees host the Sharks. I'm going to go for the Sharks to win this one. They're going to win on the road. Wildcats host the Knights. It's going to be tight, but the Knights are going to pip it. Might require overtime, might even require penalty shots, but the Knights to return with 2 points there. Seahawks host the Steel Dogs. Seahawks to win that one. And the Pitbulls host the Lightning. Lightning to record a win there. On Sunday, Knights host the Tigers. It's going to be a home win, unfortunately. Knights to win that one. Lightning host the Wildcats. Second time in, about 4 days, if I can count. I'm going to go for the Wildcats to win this one and get revenge for not making the final. There we are. I'll go for that prediction there. Steel Dogs host the Pitbulls. Really intriguing game, this one, down towards the bottom of the league. Steel Dogs to win that one. Raiders host the Seahawks. Seahawks to win, but that's going to be close. That one I could see going to overtime. And then Phantoms host the Bees. Phantoms to win that one. Some really interesting looking games this weekend. I think the Bees Sharks on Saturday is particularly interesting. Down towards, could go a reasonable way perhaps towards deciding who finishes 7th, who finishes 8th. And also Wildcats Knights is definitely a mouth-watering clash. So, that's the week that's been. That's the week that's coming up. As always, get in contact. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of my predictions. I'll be back next week. Bye for now.